Alright, welcome back to another web development video where I show you how to make modern websites using HTML5, CSS3, and a little JavaScript. In this video series we're working with a tool called Webflow, W-E-B-F-L-O-W, and you can find it at webflow.com. This is an online visual code editor, which is a mouthful, and sometimes it's still hard for me to kind of wrap my head around it. I'm not a Webflow employee or anything, so this is not something I'm accustomed to talking about, but essentially this is the site that we've created so far, and we did it all not by dragging and dropping all of these different elements, but we did it by dragging and dropping real code elements like sections, containers, grids, div blocks. So we're dropping things in, and then we're able to adjust them using these CSS properties over here, which mostly are clicking things or dragging and moving things in order to create those values. So far we have this hero section, we have our navigation here, and then we have this little stats section, which I showed you in the last video number 4, how to get icons. So you can use Font Awesome. I'm using something called Material Design Iconic Font, which you can see here, which is just the Material Design icons plus some. And so I like to use those in projects. They feel more modern and a little bit less cartoony, I guess, than Font Awesome to me. They feel a little bit more grown up and a little bit newer, maybe is the best word. So we've added this section in. We're following this template here, so you can see this is our header, and then this is the stats section, and then in this video we're going to build out this feature, and it says, you know, it's founded in 1856 and they have 175 lawyers, and just a little bit of blurb. This is kind of a like an homage to Apple. This is kind of how the Apple style is, with a nice big image side by side with some text. And so we're just going to create this little feature image that could be, you could use it to do an advertisement or whatever. In this one it has where you can click this and it pulls up a little modal, and then you can watch the video. So let's just create a new section. So we open up here to our add panel and we take a section and we put a new section in. Let's make sure it went in the right spot. Yeah. Okay. So we have all of our sections. We have our top header section, we have the stats, and then we have our next section. Our next section is going to be called, what's this going to be called? Feature video, I guess, and then we'll just call that a section as well, and we'll just say feature video. Now this is the class and this one is the ID. We should probably give this one, we do have a hero. Okay. When it shows up here it's just given a section for some reason. That's really weird, but it is called Hero Home. Okay, so the feature video takes us right down to it, so anywhere you click on here it'll take you where you're supposed to go. And what we want to do is we want to create two different elements. So there's the feature video image and there's the feature video text, and then we're also going to create this element, but I'll wait until after we're finished with the two sides in order to do that. So let's say in this section, let's just go ahead and add an inner element as well. You can't do a section, you have to do a div inside of a section, so let's do that. And we're going to call this feature video inner. You can see that the thinking is exactly like it is whenever you're hand coding a website. It's just that you're visually placing elements on the page, and then you're kind of tacking your taxonomy and your values onto those very visual elements. So this is the exact same way that I would build a website by hand. I'm just doing it by dragging and dropping the elements as opposed to just typing it out. So we have two parts of this. I'm going to get another div block, and I'm going to call this the feature video image, and I'm call another div feature video text. Let's call it that. So we have two unique divs in here. We have the video image and the video text. It's telling me that they are nested. That's not what we want. We want the text to be in here. So let's do that. So now we have those two things side by side. I can't see them, but I trust that they're there. And what I'm going to do is, what kind of image do we have? So let's just go back to Unsplash, and let's find a nice business image. Business or consulting. Oh. I love Unsplash. I love to find different images here. I like this. It's kind of a nice. Maybe it doesn't say the right thing. Maybe none of these say the right thing, really. Maybe this is our headquarters. How about that? We'll impress people with our big buildings. So let's save that there. So let's say we own one of these buildings, and we just want to put that out there on our website as we tell people about when we were founded. So we upload images here to the assets panel, and let's go to the desktop, find our image. It's telling me that it is too big, I believe. Is that right? So it needs to be 4 megs. So let's just go back in here. I like to use this little image editing program called Fastone Image Viewer. It allows me to do some really interesting, just kind of fast edits and things. So this is what we're looking at, and let me just get in here, and I don't need to crop it, I need to resize it. Nope, not it. Okay, it's Command R. And let's resize it down to 2000, actually 1000 pixels. Let's just get it nice and small. Save it. And then if we go back and we try to upload it, it should work very well. Okay, now it's in there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to collapse all these, and I want to go to the feature video image, and I want to just drag this so that it's under my feature video image, so that it's inside that div. You can see that it shows up, and then the feature video text, what do we want to put in there? So there's a heading here, we'll copy that, and for the text let's drag a heading into here, and let's make that like an H3. We'll copy it, we'll paste this in, this is exactly what we want, and then we also need this text here. So we'll make a little paragraph tag by going in here and adding a paragraph. So you grab paragraph, and that's like a P tag. Okay, and then we'll just drop it in right under that. Okay, let's paste in our text. So now we have, as far as the HTML is concerned, we have all the elements here. So we have our outer wrapper, we have our text, our image, and then we have our text off to the right. So let's go ahead and style this in CSS. So if we go to the feature video and then the feature video inner, let's take the inner and let's make it display flex. So we click display flex, and that gives us automatically what we're looking for. Something has gone wrong. This paragraph should be inside here, like that. See, we were getting 3 different flex items, so I knew that this paragraph was actually under here. It was like on the same level as these two, which is not what I wanted. So as long as this is why I create these divs like image and text, so that I can then just kind of work with a div, an imaginary separator, when I'm using Flexbox. I find that to be the best way for me to be able to do it. So that's just me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to set this image. Let's see where our Flexbox properties are. I don't want that, I want this. Feature video image. And so we have our flex item. So we can set our flex elements here. And I want it to always grow and take up 50% of the available space. So I want this to always have 50% of the available space. So you can see that we have like this split down the middle, right? And then we need to take our feature video text, and let's go ahead and, we're not centering it, we're centering it inside of the box. We're not centering these particular elements. So let's do Flexbox. That's not what we want. We can do padding, I guess, and just do 32, and well, I don't see any way around it. It's going to be a lot easier to just flex all of these items. So let's take this and we'll put a div inside of here. So we have a div block that we want to put inside the text, and then each of these is going to go inside of that. You can also drag and drop things like this and put them inside there. Okay, like that. This div block, we're going to give a class as well. We're going to say feature video text inner. So let's do that. And then now we can go up here, we can remove these styles, make it 0. And then we can set it to flex, and then we flex to the middle, and we flex to the center. And now let's apply our padding here. So let's do like maybe 32. How's that look? Not amazing, not what we're looking for. We can make this 80. Something nice and big. This is going to be Montserrat. And what does it look like? It's kind of thinnish. How about just normal? And we're going to give it some margin. Not negative, but positive. Like 64. Maybe not that much. 48. Okay. Let's change this to founded because I think that's what they meant. And this doesn't need to be like this. And this also needs to be Montserrat. And normal. A little bit of, let's say 16. And we'll make this 32. So a little bit of height here. Okay. And then the last part that we see is this gray, right? So you see this gray part here. Oh. Let's make this 2 paragraphs. There we go. Okay. The spacing really helps it out. So if we go to our feature video wrapper, and I think if we just add a background on this of a background color of what color? Let's say E. So it's a little dark. Let's say, how about that? I feel about right. That's a little bit darker, but you can see that we're just adding a background color here. I could always look, I guess. So what is this actual color? The actual color. You know, that's a good question. I don't know. So we're just going to guess at it. Let's leave it like that for now, and we'll see how it looks. So you can see it's a little bit light on the screen when you get out of here. So let's just go ahead and darken it a little bit. I know I'm being kind of picky about this, but I don't know. That's what you get when you get a designer, I guess. You get somebody who's picky. Okay. So now we have this area here, and I feel like this is pretty wide compared to what we have. And then you have this secondary area here with an image. So that's what we have. And background is really bugging me. Let's just give one more swipe at it. Okay, let's try that. And then let's go ahead and make this stats section a little bit, give it a little bit more padding. Maybe something like that. So now when we come down, We have a little bit more space, and then we have this section here. And the last thing I want to do is do this little arrow on the inside. Can do this a couple different ways. Let's first set this feature video section to display relative, and we're just going to make that explicitly displaying relative, and then we're going to take and we're going to add something else to the feature video. So not only the feature video inner, but let's put another div right here, and we're going to call this we'll call it icon CTA, and then we'll also call it play button. So what does this do? Okay, this little thing here allows you to just decide that you're going to be editing the values for our icon CTA, or you can do it so that it's editing the values of the last class, so play button. Okay, so that's an interesting way to go about doing that. And what we want to do is we want to give this a background color of red. So let's just do red, and we're going to say that this is we're going to give it an explicit width of 100 pixels and 100 pixels, and then we're going to give it a border radius. Under border radius is going to be 50%, which gives us this nice red circle. So we can see that it's a red circle, but it's a little bit faded. So maybe we can simulate that by doing this sort of thing. So let's drop the opacity to 70. I think what that's going to do is going to allow us to see through it. So I'm not sure if that's exactly the way that we want to go. We might need to, well, let's just change the color. So we say Control Z, and then let's actually just change the color to something less, a little bit more muted. Okay, and then inside of that I'm going to drop another element because we need to add a play like a triangle. We need to add this play triangle inside of that. So what we're going to do is take a small text element like this and just drop it down inside of there, and now we need to go back and we need to get a play. Actually, we need to stay back on that page. And let's do audio video, and this should link us down to the bottom of the page where we have a play button right here. So we highlight that, copy it, come back into Webflow, and we paste it. We need to give that icon the icon class, and then it'll show up. Remember, we added the iconic font to our icon class, so it's really important that you include that. Let's set the display to just be inline. Well, let's do inline block, and then we're going to set this this red circle to be flexed. And so maybe you don't use Flexbox on such a small space, but Flexbox can be used anywhere, including some of these smaller elements. So we want to align it vertically to the center, and we want to align it horizontally to the center as well. So now we have it centered inside of our red ball, our red circle. We want to make this, let's say, 32 pixels, We get rid of the italic, and let's make it our white color here. And something here, the icon has, I don't know how to do that. Let's see if this will work. There's a way to make these icons perfectly square. And they have a special class. Maybe if we do the fixed width class, then it will actually get put on here. What do you think? Yeah, I don't know if that worked. Let's go up a level. Let's go to the icon, and then we'll do this. Maybe that'll help. Yeah, I don't know. We could work on that. It's not perfect, but it'll be okay. Oh, again, the reason is the line height. Okay. And so let's go ahead, and we need to move this this icon CTA. So this part here, we need to move here to the center of this section. And the way that I'm going to choose to do that is through absolute positioning. So we come down and we say absolute positioning, and because it's inside this larger feature video we had already set to relative position, then we can actually move this around and it'll stay inside the bounds of this larger element. So let's go back to our text here, and then we'll say let's use our positioning elements here. What is this? Okay. Oh, it's telling me that it's relative to the feature video container, so that's kind of nice to see. You can adjust the z-index so to make sure it's up at the front of that container, although we've already done that. So what I want to do is I want to say left is going to be 50%. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, top, we have to do that too. So top and left is going to be 50%, and what that does is it sets the edge. It sets each edge at 50%. So we're a little bit too far down and we're a little bit too far to the right. So what we want to do is pull it back, and what we can do is we can do a transform, and we can, okay, they're saying move, but this is like translate along each line. So we can translate along the x-axis minus 50%. And so minus 50% says minus 50% of this element. So it moves back 50% or half of this element's width. If we said minus 100%, it would move back whatever the width of this element is, it would move back that way and pull the element back 100% of this width, which is 100 pixels. But we only need it to go halfway, so we say minus 50%. And then we're running into the same issue vertically, so along the vertical or the y-axis, we also say minus 50%. And now we have a perfectly centered, absolute positioned element right in the middle of our section. And it'll stay in the middle of our section as long as we have it there. And that's pretty much what we have right here, right? So that is how to create this sort of feature section in Webflow. If you have any questions, please leave them down in the section below, the comments section, and I'll get to them as quickly as I can. If you've missed some of the other sections of the website, some of these top parts, we're just kind of moving from the top to the bottom. Then go back to the first video in this series, in this playlist, and just kind of watch them all the way through. I'm just learning this myself, but Webflow seems like a really great tool. Creating a website like this or creating modules like this seems pretty easy. I don't know if it's easier than writing by hand. I've been doing that for 20 years, so I don't know. But I do like that I'm visually able to just kind of transform things quickly and then be able to be in local development and then push it and then be able to show it to someone very quickly. So I think there are some advantages outside of just the visual coding part of it. So hopefully this is giving you a really good introduction to Webflow, that you can create modern and beautiful websites just by dragging and dropping elements in and then changing those values in your CSS over here through a kind of a common UI panel that we're accustomed to using in Illustrator or Photoshop. All right, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.